Hello YouTube, this is Morgan Airspeed Prime here with my next Avatar news update video. And what we have here is the proper announcement that yes, as expected, Avatar Generations is getting a full-on Rise of Kyoshi update, and we have the patch notes for that update, and as well as this key piece of art here with of course Kyoshi and Rangi, with of course the Avatar mansion in the background, which is very nice. So that's probably the main visual thing to show off to go with this, is that this, I'm guessing, will be the main kind of hero kind of Rangi piece of art, where like if you pull Rangi in the game, this will be the piece of art they use there. And I'm guessing this Kyoshi will be the more sort of full-on Avatar Kyoshi that we get in the game, because of course they mention a young Kyoshi, which is actually an image I have seen, but I can't show you guys. So it's just I guess confirmed that there is probably going to be two different Kyoshis in the game, young Kyoshi with no makeup and full-on Avatar Kyoshi. But yeah, let's get into the patch notes here. So this update for 1.9 is coming after scheduled maintenance on April 18th. So this is going to be the big update next week. So coming really soon. Now, of course, we knew something like this was coming. That's the whole reason we got this stuff on social media. The reveal of Janju's official art, Tagaka's official art, Heiron's official art, and sort of like the idea of the tease of more. So I really hope they use next week to reveal the other characters, so I can finally like stop teasing with all these ideas of like, I've seen what Kelsang looks like and stuff like that, when they should be able to reveal it here. Because it'd be a bit weird to hold it back until like here, when we'll have the update during this week. So they should really get on that. But let's go through it here. So, new Avatar Timelines feature. Explore the stories and experiences of Avatar Kyoshi from the Rise of Kyoshi novels in the new Avatar Timelines activity. Once the Kyoshi Island campaign is complete, the new Timelines feature will be available. 2 new scenarios have been added, Yokoya and Polar Refuge. Try new heroes like Rangi, Yoon, Young Kyoshi, and more. Collect new timeline currency to be used in the timeline shop to purchase exclusive items. So, overall, this is what they're basically calling the Generations aspect of the game. This will be the first time we're getting non-Avatar The Last Airbender Aang era content. So this is how they're going to be doing it. There's still some questions here. I don't fully know exactly what this necessarily means, but they're saying straight away here. So once the Kyoshi Island campaign is complete, the new Timelines feature will be available. So what it means is that at the very least, to unlock the Rise of Kyoshi content, you will have to play through the, I guess, Aang story up to and at least past the Kyoshi Island stuff. Now, it doesn't take too long to get through that, but that's relatively far into the content that is in the game currently. So for people who haven't played the game yet, here is your biggest example for don't wait until the Kyoshi update is out to start, because you should probably start playing now so that you're at the point where timelines will be unlocked straight away. And so you'll be more familiar with the game when Rise of Kyoshi actually, the content actually comes out. So they're calling it New Avatar Timelines Activity. Now, the fact that they use the word activity means that, like, do you have to go to the activity section to access it? Because I think everyone else was thinking that, like, is it going to be a thing where you press adventure and then maybe the 2 generations pop up and you get 2 different versions of the map depending on what generation you're in? But this is maybe leaning more into the direction that you perhaps won't be doing the adventure map exploration as such in the Kyoshi era, and it will more be just a straight up like piece of story content. Like they're calling it like a scenario. So I don't know. That's interesting. Like, will it just be sort of like you're kind of almost like given the Kyoshi characters, and you get a chance to try them out here. And then if you want to unlock them for use in like the rest of the game, that's what the summon banners are for. I'm very interested to see how exactly this is going to be done, because it seems slightly different than I maybe expected them to do it. But I don't know, the fact that they're calling them scenarios, that makes me think it might actually be a little bit more story focused, story driven, and potentially a little bit kind of easier to maybe like experience and go through, because the way the campaign works is like, you know, you're constantly having to upgrade your characters. But if this is literally just really sort of like curated like battles, like they give you the characters that you are given and you just have to make the right moves to go through them, and it maybe doesn't particularly matter about levels and stuff like that, that could be interesting. But again, that's just speculation. I don't exactly know how it's going to play out. But they're saying that there's going to be a Yokoya scenario and a Polar Refuge scenario. Now, Yokoya makes sense. That's the entire start of the book, and that makes complete sense. The location that we then go to would be, you know, the water tribe, like the iceberg stuff, to meet with Tagaka. Is that what they mean by Polar Refuge here? And because Tagaka is like the furthest character into the book in terms of her introduction, I'm assuming that this means that we're getting roughly like the first third of the book up to that chapter, the iceberg, which is kind of like, quote unquote, the almost like reveal to everyone that like, oh wait, Kyoshi actually is the Avatar. It obviously then gets confirmed like shortly after this, but it seems like we're just going up to maybe the introduction and stuff with Tagaka here. And then maybe more can be added a little bit later on. Try new heroes like Rangi, Yun, Young Kyoshi, and more. And again, this makes sense. If they're doing the start of the book, you know what characters are going to be featured here. Rangi, Yun, Young Kyoshi, of course, Heiran, Janzu, Tagaka, Kelsang. Those are the characters that we're expecting. Notice how they're not mentioning like Kirima, Wong, Lao Ge, Lek, because I don't think the content that we're getting is going to quite go up there to that point. Otherwise, I think they'd be more mentioning the Dao Fei towns and stuff like that, and the other areas where the rest of the book kind of takes place, but they don't seem to mention that. Timeline currency for the timeline shop. So this, like, they're calling it a full-on like feature being added to the game, and because the expectation obviously is that we're going to be adding like Korra into this game, we're going to be adding in Roku for sure, and then based on the introduction that we got for the game, there's like Yang Chen, potentially Wan at some point to be introduced, Karuk. You know, there's a lot of stuff to do here. This will be a feature that gets quite heavily expanded on. So I'm interested to see the scope of like what's actually in the timeline shop. Like, I'm assuming there might be like one or two characters that you're able to like just like purchase here with the kind of summon coins and stuff like that. But we'll wait and see. Of course, this could be quite interesting. I suppose we maybe have to have a little bit of a discussion here about like, okay, they've made the decision. The first generation they're adding to the game is Kyoshi. Why are they doing Kyoshi before Korra? I ultimately think this is a pretty clever move on their part, because it's showing that they're not just doing the very obvious thing of they start with ATLA and then the next thing they're doing is just the other really obvious content to do. To me, the fact that they've gone for Kyoshi first and tied it into this like Earth Month to kind of make a big event out of it is quite clever, because it's showing you that this game is going to have very unique content. As an Avatar fan, there will be kind of new stuff that if you're not familiar with every aspect of the franchise, there'll be full-on new stuff that you're not familiar with. So if you haven't read the Kyoshi novels, even though you should, you'll get a bit of that experience through this. And it's showing you that, oh, hey, this is unexpected. They've done something that surprised me here. I should continue playing this game. And I think this is what I've been waiting for sure, because ultimately, the ATLA content, while fun, as an Avatar fan in 2023, it's a little bit boring a bit to be waiting for when's episode 6 of Avatar going to get added to the game. This is like 10 times more interesting to me. Kind of our first visual kind of content for Rise of Kyoshi being added into this game. It does make me wonder though for Korra, is Korra going to get added as a timeline? Or is Korra big enough that it would get its own like adventure? That would be when we do the, you know, walking around Republic City adventure kind of mode. I assume they probably will go all in with Korra in that sense, and will more be the other generations that are done in the timelines feature, but I don't actually know. That would just be my expectation. I can't see them missing out on the opportunity to have a Republic City like adventure map with all the nodes, for sure. So that's interesting. New mastery quests added, only Tyro. That's interesting. That makes it feel like a little bit weird that like there's a bunch of characters who could probably do it master quest, but only Tyro gets it. And then they're tuning the mastery quest for these characters. I assume just to make them match up with other characters. Jang, of course. New pirate domain difficulty has been added. So basically a rank 6 has been added to this, so the highest tier. It is a fight against Pirate Queen Tagaka, which you can do once a day for high gold rewards. Pirate domain stamina costs adjusted based on floor 6 being added. I wonder what that means. I take that to mean that it's not just that 6 gets added and it is a higher stamina amount to 5. It almost feels like they're adjusting the other ones to almost account for the fact that, oh, 6 is maybe now going to be the stamina amount of what maybe 5 was, and the others will be adjusted slightly back on that. I'm not really sure though. But this is cool. This is a really cool feature. So there's straight away, I guess, a boss for the Kyoshi content that we have, which makes sense. This is a big fight that happens in the book for high gold rewards. Now, I wonder how high that actually is, because if you do Pirate Domain 5 at the moment, you get about, I think it's like 390,000 gold, which is quite a lot. But for certain things in this game, you need a lot of gold, well beyond that. So I don't know if this is going to be much more difficult, like a higher power level needed as well. And if it is in any way challenging, I don't know, you need to go well above that. Like it feels like you probably need to double that. So it probably needs to be like at least like 700,000, if not probably a full million. Depending on how tricky it actually is, just because of how much stuff you end up like needing in this game. But that's a really nice addition. New summon banners. So they've heard the feedback that people want to know more of a roadmap for what's coming, and while they don't seem to be able to give like a full-on like content roadmap in terms of when the next story piece of content will be added, they seem to have now been able to kind of confirm like, hey, we can let people know what banners are sort of coming, even if they're not fully confirming what everything is. So these are apparently all Rise of Kyoshi event banners. I'm not sure if that just means that these are banners which will happen during the Rise of Kyoshi event, or if it means they are all Rise of Kyoshi related in some way. I take the fact that they specifically mention timeline in specific ones to probably mean that they are specifically for like that means it's a generational one rather than just an ATLA character banner. So the first one here, Rise of Kyoshi Limited Avatar Timeline Banner, Event Long Banner. So, you know, this is a full month-long banner. I assume they'll have probably most of the Kyoshi cast in here. This will be a very, very kind of like general one that actually has quite a few characters here. And I assume this will have like, you know, Kyoshi, Rangi, Yoon, Tagaka, Heiron, like the whole kind of amount of characters that we actually have. The second one here, Powerful Opponent Banner, 425. This is interesting because it doesn't say timeline, but would they really call it like Powerful Opponent Timeline Banner when it's like a Powerful Opponent ticket that you use for it? It gets a little bit confusing there about like the distinction, but I don't know, because these are usually reserved for like original Avatar Generations characters, because this is where the Dojo Master, Kiwok, Bokin, who's currently ongoing, I think, come from. The only other unique characters that remains in the game is Katsu. We'll get later on to the point that he's actually been renamed, and we'll address that in a minute. But the Bokin's fire captain rival, he's like the only kind of character left who would sort of fit this. So I wonder, is that just his banner? Or does it mean that there's a specific Kyoshi character who's getting a Powerful Opponent banner? That would be cool, because the Powerful Opponent ones are the ones where you only need 10 tickets to guarantee that you get the character. And they're probably some of the easier characters to actually build up and get to a high level as soon as possible. So that's exciting. This will be followed by 2 Avatar Timeline banners. So again, that means specifically Kyoshi, we assume. And I wonder what they'll do there, because I see this one's running the whole time through, and then these ones will be like added on top of it. So I don't know, like, does that maybe suggest that maybe this timeline will only have maybe the Yokoya trio? Like, maybe the first banner only has, say, like, young Kyoshi, Yoon, and Rangi. And then maybe, like, this banner might have, like, Heiran, Janju, and Kelsang. And then maybe this one, like, adds, like, maybe this is the full-on, like, Avatar Kyoshi, like, kind of full power Kyoshi, maybe timeline banner. I'll be interested to see what they do. Otherwise, I might think that they might do, like, a rate-up banner for these two, where, like, these are the Earth characters from Kyoshi, so, like, it's easier to get Yoon and Kelsang this week. It's easier to get, like, Heiran and Rangi this week. There's a few options that they have. And then the next Peace and Chaos banner will be here. Again, it's unknown if this is Kyoshi Peace and Chaos or just general Peace and Chaos. I'm not really sure. But keep these in mind with these updates here. So they are changing the kind of pity rates for these all the banners, basically. So standard and rate up banners, max pity has been reduced from 150 to 120. That's, I think, pretty notable. So these are some of the ones where it's slightly easier to get the characters, but 150 summons is still a lot to guarantee the character. 120, I think, brings it more into range where, like, yeah, I can kind of grind to get that a little bit. Like, it's a little bit more like, okay, I could be prepared for that when one of these comes around. That makes sense. Peace and Chaos and limited event heroes, pity cap is now 200. Yeah, the 300 stuff was, I think, a huge mistake. That was way too much. That's why I really haven't interacted much with the Zuko Peace and Chaos that's going on at the moment, because it just felt like, yeah, I don't really have much of a chance here. I'll save my tickets, and it's, I think, will work probably out in my favor. And then Tales of the Four Nations no longer resets on a 5-star. That's really good, because this is the banner that's always around. This never goes away. It's got a huge kind of pool of characters and items and stuff like that. And it always is a little bit frustrating, is that, like, you finally get lucky and you pull 5-star and then it resets back to 200 or whatever. Now it will remain on whatever it's on. So if it takes you like 150 to pull something, so you've got 50 left on the pity counter, even if you pull something, it will remain at 50. So it means that, like, every 200 pulls on this, you will get like a character. So, you know, you'll eventually get points where you get like almost like kind of two guaranteed, two kind of pulls in a row. So that's actually, I think, a really nice one, because I'd love to know the statistics behind the scenes of like how utilized this banner actually like is, because there's been very few periods, I think, where there hasn't been another like banner or another couple of banners ongoing. So I'd say there maybe hasn't been a lot of use on this because it's such a large loot pool and it works kind of the same way as the other ones. This now might make this something worth putting some tickets into when maybe you're not super interested in the characters and the other banners. Now keep in mind, these updates only apply to stuff after April 18th. So it doesn't retroactively apply to the banners that will still be ongoing when the update comes out. So say Zuko Peace and Chaos isn't going down from 300 to 200. The next Peace and Chaos will work with 200. So do keep that in mind. New stuff has been added to the Tales of the Four Nations banner. So Peace Ang, that's nice to give people a chance at him. He seems like a really unique character who I'd like to get at some point. Boomy, of course, I have him kind of maxed out pretty much. He's a very good character. Gorilla Goat is being added here. A new 5-star relic, the Desecrated Fountain, is added in. I wonder what that actually is referring to necessarily, but we'll see. Yang Chen's Memorial is being added, and the Ceremonial Drum is being added as well. This is an important thing. How rewarding is the update going to be when we launch? There will be new Rise of Kyoshi themed event challenges. Complete these to get different rewards. Complete different challenges to earn rewards, including the Rise of Kyoshi event currency. It can be obtained for rewards in the shop only during the event time frame. So again, it's going on for like basically a month and a week, 5 weeks or so. And so this is where you have to grind this stuff to get this stuff, because I guess the stuff that's in the shop will go away after this time. And I'm guessing one thing that will be in the Rise of Kyoshi event shop is probably going to be this new Justice art set, because it's the fact that it says Justice makes me feel it's very Kyoshi focused. And it's defense up and stuff like that, and it's got the whole Kyoshi stuff with the positive stances to it. So I'm assuming that might be what's here in the Rise of Kyoshi event currency shop. And then yeah, they just specify again the currencies only last for as long as the event is ongoing. New supports and relics will be added to limited banners and the shop. This makes sense, of course. If you're doing a Kyoshi update, you have to have, I guess, Kyoshi themed supports and arts. The supports are interesting because, like, obviously there's Peng Peng, Pung Pung, whatever you want to call it, Kelsong's Bison. But beyond that, what else really is there? Like, there are Shirshu introduced in those books at a later stage, but like, is there really that many animals in the Rise of Kyoshi that I remember? I'd have to kind of like really heavily think about it. Relics, of course, you've got options there, but it'll be interesting to see what they do choose to include there that's more Kyoshi themed. New art set, so I already went over the Justice one, so it's defense, which we already have, but this version of the defense will have the additional 30% for 2 turns when you enter a positive stance or state. So this seems very suited to give to Kyoshi warrior characters who have the whole stance change stuff going on, and I assume that might be in the Rise of Kyoshi shop. This new time art set, just based on the whole time thing, I'm going to assume will be maybe associated with the timeline shop, but we'll have to wait and see on that. What else do we have here? Adventure map changes. So Amashu will get some new resource battle nodes after you defeat the Flopsy battle, which is somewhat difficult. The Razor Reef will also get a new node, so that's much needed, I think. The Razor Reef for sure. And yeah, it always felt a little bit weird that in Amashu you can actually kind of do more in the palace, so adding in that like extra section, hopefully it's super rewarding as well. If that actually has like good rewards, that could be very nice as well. So they're nice quality of life updates. Character tuning, not going to spend too much time on this. This is a list of characters who are getting I think it's mainly buffs to other characters, but there are a few nerfs to characters, because obviously now that the arena's been going a few weeks, they're getting a sense for what characters are too powerful, what is kind of, I suppose, unhealthy for kind of competitiveness in the arena. It seems like the main offenders for the most part have been the defense Iroh has got a nerf, which if you've gone up against a full power Iroh, it can be so difficult to break through. The offense Zuko, this is basically the starter Zuko that everyone has access to. They've also changed a bunch of stuff with him, along with some bug fixes, which again I think also effectively serve as a nerf to make him more of a normal character. But otherwise, every other character is getting some sort of a fix or adjustment to their abilities to make them a little bit better. Similarly, there's some relics that get some tuning. Again, there's a mix of buffs and debuffs. It seems like a lot of healing effects are getting nerfed just because it is affecting the arena kind of quite badly. When you go up against like excessive healing, it can be really difficult to fight against in the arena. Combat systems are getting some updates. Again, mainly stuff that kind of some broken things in the combat system are getting fixed. And then this first point here is quite interesting. 3-person combos now always apply the combo Ender's element, ignoring resistance. So that's nice to get that guarantee on that you can begin to make a breakthrough by saving up your focus and going for like a triple attack basically, and whoever's at the end will always inflict their element regardless of resistance. So that's good. Combat fixes, again, this is where, like, you know, look at the amount of like Zuko and Iroh kind of stuff here. Like there's a whole section here of like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on like Zuko and Iroh, just their stuff being kind of fixed to make them more normal looking. This update for Iroh kind of really helps him actually, Tyro, so that's good. And this, I believe, is also a quite notable update to the game as well. Zinfu on the really high level, I think, is probably one of the better characters at the moment, but apparently it's been a bit of a problem, and it was actually an error, as you can see there. These two are quite notable here. The arena basically rewards are getting updated, so your weekly rank rewards will be, I guess, going up. I assume everything is becoming more rewarding and going up, because I did think they were a little bit stingy on the amount of coins and stuff like that you got for performing reasonably well. And then this one, I think, is, I guess, per battle, how many arena coins you get per win, I guess also would be going up as well. So there's that. This is huge. Account rank cap is going up to 120. Currently, it's been at 40 since the game launched. And if you've played the game for any reasonable amount of time, you're probably 40 and have been 40 for quite a long time. Now, thankfully, they are saying that previously earned experience will be recalculated and your level and rewards will be updated accordingly. I wonder what they mean by recalculated. Because I don't know, I have a feeling people might be a little bit surprised with, like, maybe they don't go up as many levels as they expect to go up here, but I don't actually know. But the game does still calculate how much experience you have even once you reach the cap, so I don't know. I'd be expecting probably to go up at least 10 levels or something like that. If the cap's 120, I think considering the amount I've played, I feel I should go up a couple more levels. Because, of course, that increases your amount of, like, stamina you have, which is quite low at 120, the max that you have at the moment. So that's important. Account rank has gone up, though, with higher activities, so that's good. And then this is also quite good. Lowered adventure point cost for unlocking main campaign areas. This has been much needed. I have no idea why they had it so that when there was a new update to the story, you had to pay like thousands of adventure points to unlock the new areas. It was quite excessive. But obviously now that there's more content in the game, I guess they can lower that, and that is good. Hopefully it's not like still super high, but we'll see what it actually is. And they've just basically smoothed out some of the experience on some of the replayable areas. I guess they're removing some of the text. And in Shenguan, they're changing it so that instead of the nodes kind of like adjusting based on what you're doing, they're just going to be like, hey, the node where you get the item is just going to be that node where you get the item constantly. So I guess you can grind them and get multiple of that item, and then the node where you kind of give the item to will just be the kind of resource nodes. That way you can, just if you want to save up 5 of them and then just claim 5 of them at once, I guess you'll be able to do that. So that's just a quality of life thing overall. Items added to the summon shop. So Kyoshi warriors, these are characters. Masked Soldier M. Am I missing something here? Of like, do we know this character, Masked Soldier M? Earth Kingdom Soldier Defense. M is Mind, of course. Patolo Dojo Master. So I'm pretty happy about the Earth Kingdom Soldier because I quite like the way his kind of abilities work. So hopefully I can get the skill coins I need from the summon shop. Some of the associated items. This one is interesting. Captain Katsu's name updated to Captain Masaru. I wonder why that happened. Because like it's been Katsu for like the entire game so far, and he's one of the unique characters introduced into Avatar Generations, like made by the game. He's Bokin's rival. I'm assuming this maybe confirms that the powerful opponent thing coming is him, because of course you do get to play as him a little bit in the campaign. So his name has been changed now. I'm not really sure. Is it because Katsu like meant something in a different language? This maybe fits better. Who knows? This is a fun one. Air Temple Sky Bison and Air Temple Appa names have been swapped due to popular demand. This basically happened because, in terms of this is more of a kind of flavor kind of type thing. It felt like their abilities were doing the thing the other one should have been doing. So the way it is now in the game, prior to the update, I believe Sky Bison, so generic Sky Bison, increases Team Avatar's health by 15% or whatever. And then Appa increases air characters' defense. So the idea is like, wait, why is the general Sky Bison bumping up Team Avatar? And then why is specifically Appa doing Air Nation characters. It should be the other way around, because Appa is literally a part of Team Avatar, and then Sky Bison should be more generally with the general group Air Nomad. So that makes a lot of sense. Various store items prices have been adjusted, hopefully to make them cheaper and better value, so that's good. Bunch of different quality of life stuff here. 2 and 3 star meditation beads in the exchange shop is pretty good. Some more bug fixes overall. Mastery quests will no longer stop tracking progress for all heroes. I hope this is the one that fixes, I think, for me, this is affecting, I think, Boomy and also my Earth Kingdom soldier, where their like activities amounts for their final mastery quest won't go up past like 5. So I hope that's what that means, just generally affecting whatever's causing that. So yeah, overall, really nice patch notes. There's obviously still quite a lot that I don't know about what's going on here. Like, how exactly the timeline feature is going to work in terms of, like, is it just you getting to kind of do sort of, like, set battles where you literally just get to test out the characters by doing the campaign? Or, like, will you get, like, a free Kyoshi that you can use? Or do you have to, like, summon all of these characters to in any way get them? Very interested to see how it actually like plays out in practice, because even though I have a little bit of extra information that from like emails and stuff like that I've been sent, I don't actually know much more than what like is said in these patch notes. I have a couple of extra images. There's like 1 or 2 little notes of details that I have that they don't mention here, but I wouldn't say they're anything like super significant. Like everyone else, I'm still waiting on like sort of like, I suppose, the trailer to see some visuals from actually like the gameplay and how exactly this is all going to work. And I think like everyone else, I'm going to be scrambling to record gameplay for a video next week as soon as possible. So hopefully for the video next week to coincide with the launch, then I'll be able to show you some of the images and stuff like that I have, and hopefully there'll be more images as well to show off. But yeah, that is the Rise of Kyoshi update that is coming into the game. Far and away, biggest, huge update to the game. And what I would say as someone who plays the game a lot, I'm excited for the Kyoshi stuff, of course, because it's modern content, it's books getting adapted into kind of a visual media for the first time. That's huge. But I think a lot of those quality of life updates feel like almost just as strong in a way. Like the content plus them finally taking a lot of the feedback into account feels like a real big step in the right direction for this game. So hopefully it goes from strength to strength here. But in the comments, let me know what your thoughts are on the upcoming Rise of Kyoshi update. But that's been the video. Thanks for watching, and bye.